New challenges pop up all the time. You have to cultivate calm in the middle of the chaos, not wait until the chaos is over. Hey, it's Dr. Elisha Goldstein, and welcome to today's episode of the Emotional Longevity Podcast. I'm so glad you're tuning in today because this might just change your life, and I don't say that lightly. Today we're talking about stress and longevity, the connection between the two, how chronic stress can literally shorten your health span, and why calming your mind is one of the most powerful ways to protect your body and your future self. As you move through this, you'll see I'm going to give you a few research-backed techniques that will really help create more calm in your mind and feel it more in your body. And we'll talk about the impact that's going to make on your life, not just emotionally, but physically as well. Now, if you're a busy human, like maybe the rest of us, raising kids, juggling a career, building a business, going through some major life transitions, or really just simply trying to keep your life from falling apart, this episode is for you. Because right now, in the air we're all living in, and I'm sure you can feel it, is a lot of collective stress. If there's one thing I've learned as a psychologist in my own personal endeavors in researching the reality of health span and longevity is that stress is not just a mood killer. It's without a doubt stealing years off of our lives. So take stock for a moment of your own stress, and let's consider what it might be costing you right now. Maybe sleepless nights, the constant tension in your neck and shoulders. Maybe it's that pit in your stomach every time you check your email. Just the experience of overwhelm in your life. So here's the connection I try and make with all that is considered maybe negative stress. There's mountains of research telling us that chronic stress increases inflammation in our body, it strains our heart, and can even wear down the protective caps of our DNA called telomeres, essentially fast forwarding the aging process. Let me say that in a different way. Stress literally leaves its mark at the cellular level. This is real science, but I'm not here to tell a dystopian tale, and anyone that knows me knows that I'm always in search for hope and what can make a positive difference in our lives. So here's the thing. You have more power than you think to slow that process down. I'm going to spend this episode deep diving into how you can reclaim that power starting today. We're going to talk about the mind-body connection in a way that's going to make you look at stress completely differently. And then I'll give you some practical tools, maybe simple daily habits that help you manage stress and protect your body in the process. So first, let me get out of the way that, of course, not all stress is bad. In fact, many people make the argument that a certain amount of stress is what helps us build and grow. All that makes sense, and we'll get into that in future episodes, but we're going to be talking about here is the kind of stress that's not good for us, that's unhealthy for us. And so you might be thinking, sure, stress can be bad, but everyone is stressed. Everyone is surviving. Everyone feels overwhelmed. It's just part of modern life. And you know what? You're right. Especially right now. Whenever I go to dinner parties or speak with friends and family, that's a prevailing sentiment. There's just a lot going on in the world right now, and that's not even talking about our personal lives yet. But we're not talking about the occasional adrenaline spike when you're late for a meeting or when you get frustrated with a friend of your kids for a moment or that burst of nerves before a big presentation. What I think many of us are experiencing right now is more of a day in, day out chronic stress that grinds you down so subtly, you might not even notice it's there until you can't sleep. Your hair is thinning. You start snapping at your family for no reason, or eventually your body starts to hurt, or maybe you start developing different stress-related physiological conditions. I want you to picture a slow drip of water on a rock. One day, nothing happens. A month, you see a little groove. Over time, that drip carves a crater. That's figuratively and sometimes literally what chronic stress does to your body and mind. And here's the connection for the part of emotional longevity, where we're talking about the impact of emotions on our health span. The reason it affects your health span is actually pretty straightforward. When your body thinks it's in fight or flight mode all the time, it constantly pumps our stress hormones like cortisol. Now, here's a reminder of what cortisol is. In small doses, it's helpful. It's what gets you ready, gives you that burst of energy to tackle challenges, but in high doses over a long period, it turns into a monster for inflammation in your body and inevitably weakens your immune system and damages your cells, which are pretty important for all of our health. Now, let's get back to telomeres. I've mentioned it on this podcast a few times. These are little protective caps on your DNA that keep your cells stable when they replicate. Chronic stress is shown to shorten those telomeres, which has been shown to accelerate the aging process. It's like forcing your body to drive with the gas pedal floored all day. Your engine can't handle that indefinitely. Or it's like having your computer on all day or all week or all month with a million tabs open. Eventually, it's just going to start slowing down or breaking down. All right. So we've established why stress is a big deal. So next, let's look at the hidden ways stress shows up in our lives so we can recognize it better. To start off, it's important to understand that stress isn't just mental tension. It also messes with your heart. Chronic stress strains your cardiovascular system, elevating blood pressure and increasing your risk of heart disease. So if you notice this in your life, a part of it can really just be the underlying stress that's left untreated. It damages your gut health. Stress can disrupt your gut's balance. So if you're noticing any inflammation or digestive issues, this may be the underlying reason. It also wreaks havoc on your hormones. Can't sleep, craving sugar, mood swings. Guess what? Stress is oftentimes the culprit here. It also undermines your immune system. So if you catch yourself getting colds a lot, you might also want to check in on your level of overwhelm. And of course, you might not always recognize what's happening on any given day as stress. Some days you might just feel tired, or you try to keep going without recognizing that your body is running in a constant low-level emergency mode. All of this leads to one big conclusion. We can't just shrug our shoulders and say, well, everyone's stressed, as though it's inevitable. We have to recognize it in ourselves so that we have the ability to calm it down and refocus on ways that are healthier for us. We definitely don't want this to be left unchecked, to be susceptible to feeling terrible in the years to come because we've let things run on and negative mental and emotional health conditions followed. Okay, so now let's get to the solve here of calming our minds. Imagine two worlds. In the first world, your day starts with dread. You roll out of bed, already behind, already swirling in your mind about the never-ending to-do list. You skip breakfast or you slam coffee on your way out. Your phone is blowing up. At work, you're reacting to everyone else's demands. And by the time you get home, you're completely depleted. You flop onto the couch or you scroll on your phone to relax, but your mind never switches off. You bring that buzz of anxiety into bedtime. Don't sleep well, and the cycle repeats. Does any of that sound familiar? In the second world, you still have responsibilities, maybe a lot of them, but you start your day with a few quiet minutes, or you do a guided breathing exercise, or maybe you stretch for a moment before you even open your email, or even after you open your email initially. It's perfectly fine. When conflict or chaos hits in the day, you're able to catch them a little bit sooner because you have a simple mental reset that anchors you so your stress response doesn't skyrocket. And by night, you have an evening ritual. I know everyone leads different lives. People have different levels of responsibility. So we're not trying to create this like Pollyanna perfect type of day. You have to find what fits for you. Maybe there's a space for journaling or a hot bath or a phone call with a friend. Maybe it's just taking a short walk outside while lowering your shoulders. Now, here's the thing. You defend any of these rituals as sacred time. Your body recovers, your mind isn't stuck in fight or flight, and you wake up feeling less frantic and more centered. Which version of you do you think ages slower and enjoys life longer? Which version is kinder to their friends and family, more focused at work, and more at peace in their own head? Now, as you're listening to this, don't let your mind take this in as some pie-in-the-sky woo-woo talk. Don't let it say, I've heard something like this before, and then scroll to the next thing or move on to the next episode. And also, don't take it as I've tried stuff like this and failed, so that just reminds me of what I can't do. Every day is a new day and anything is possible, but what I want you to do is take in the logic of this. I'll say this again. Stress directly affects your inflammatory response, your cardiovascular system, and your cellular aging. One of the most powerful counters to that damage is practicing calm, literally training your nervous system to shift out of survival mode, which is happening on and off throughout the day, most days, and is triggered by all the algorithms we're susceptible now. Because you can't always remove the triggers out there in the world, but you can absolutely master what goes on in here in your own mind. Hey everyone, we're going to take a quick break to check in and talk about a program that's very important to me. I've been working with people for over 20 years, and in that time, what I've realized is that uncovering emotional healing, strengthening emotional health, and building resilience works best when we're learning practical skills that are evidence-based, supported by a caring community, and have access to daily guidance and support. That's why I built my emotional health coaching program. If you're someone who's ready to take your emotional health to the next level, you're tired of yo-yoing around, you want to start really making real progress, whether it's building resilience, managing stress better, or simply feeling more balanced, you can get a free consult for the program. Just click the link in the description below to schedule your session and learn how we can support you. Now, let's get back to the episode. Okay, so let's get practical for a moment now. How do we do this thing? How do we train more calm in our minds? Let me share a few basic methods that have been used in scientific studies and have shown benefits for stress reduction, heart health, and yes, even your telomeres. Just listen and pick whichever resonates, but make it a point to commit to at least one starting this week. Ultimately, you're going to listen to your own experience and allow it to be your guide. That's always the best advice. So, the first one, let's consider micro breathing breaks. This is the easiest place to start if you've never tried anything like meditation or breath work. So, several times a day, maybe after you send that big email or when you get in the car. By the way, a car is also a great place to do this if you use a car regularly. Stop and take 5 slow, deep breaths. Just 5. Start with 5. Make the exhale slightly longer than the inhale. Imagine tension leaving your body with each exhale. We talk about this a lot in the early part of my emotional health coaching program. It's so important to learn how to release. This tiny reset flips your body into a calmer state. Studies from multiple medical institutions around the world confirm that slow, controlled breathing lowers blood pressure, activates your parasympathetic nervous system, and over time decreases stress hormone levels. Okay, the second thing, body scans. Body scans are another simple but powerful technique. And this was popularized by John Kabat-Zinn's mindfulness-based stress reduction program. Later on, a mentor and a friend, Bob Stahl, and I went on to write the workbook for this program. Here's how you do it. Sit or lie down. In fact, we oftentimes recommend this initially lying down. Close your eyes and mentally scan from your toes up to your head. Check in with each major area, your toes, your ankles, your calves, your knees, your thighs, your hips, and so on. Just noticing sensations, just being curious about sensations. You might notice areas where there's tension. Now, with a true body scan, the idea would be to watch the sensation. So you would watch the tension. And just with that awareness alone, it allows the sensations to come and go. If you'd like to play more with actively softening around the tension, you're welcome to do that. In this case, you would consciously release tension as you go. So kind of like contracting and releasing tension in different parts of the body is more like this thing called progressive relaxation practice. I suggest experimenting with both of them and seeing what you notice. By the time you've reached the top of your head, your mind is calmer and your body is more relaxed. By the way, every time your mind drifts off and starts thinking about something, you just take note of that thinking, gently come back to wherever you left off in the body, or if you're doing some kind of audio guided practice, you would just come back to wherever it is guiding you at that moment. Researchers have found that consistent practice of body scanning can reduce chronic pain, lower overall stress, and help regulate emotional responses. I'll put a link to a body scan that I do in the show notes for you to play with. Now, if you're not into meditation, what's shown to be surprisingly effective is also brain dumps and journaling. If you're a regular listener, you know I've loved journaling in my life, and here's why. Our brains are not designed to hold 5,000 to-dos, regrets, and future worries all at once. I know we've all tried it, and it doesn't work too well. It's exhausting. So do a brain dump. I remember when I first learned about this in Julia Cameron's work, The Artist's Way. In San Francisco in my early 20s, I used to get a group together and we used to sit together and learn this program. And every morning in this program, she had us just take a few pages and just basically do a brain dump, write everything that is just on your mind, just free associate onto a piece of paper, just getting it all out. What I'm going to suggest to you is going to be a little bit different because the intention here is to support you in feeling more clear and organized and less overwhelmed. So here's what you do in this particular practice. Grab a piece of paper or open up a document or your notes on your phone. Write every single worry, chore, or anxious thought swirling around. No order, no categories, just let it go out of your head. It's a form of release. Then look at the list and decide which things actually need your attention and which you can set free or delegate. This gives you a sense of clarity and control, which is huge when it comes to calm. Now, the final thing here I want to mention is how we can bring this into our relationships. So let me bring this top of mind for you, the power of no. It's a phrase you've heard before. I'm just, again, bringing it top of mind so that you can take it from here into the next moment of your life. This is so hard for many of us. I'm going to make the argument that the simple word no might be your most potent source of space and ease in your life. If you're constantly feeling like you have zero margins in your life, it might be time for some healthy boundaries. By saying no to extra commitments that you don't genuinely value, you're effectively saying yes to your emotional well-being. I want to say that again. By saying no to certain things that you don't value or that are depleting to you, you're saying yes to your emotional well-being and more energy in your life. That sense of regaining some autonomy can lower your stress baseline. This is especially important if you notice that you say yes automatically because you feel guilty or because you think you should. So if this is you, here's what you're going to do. You're going to practice a pause. Practice saying, I'll get back to you. Or practice saying, I can't commit to that right now. These simple phrases can support you in scaffolding what you can do in those moments. Now, this might be harder at first, but see what the space feels like. See what this empowerment feels like to bring into action in your everyday life. If something feels good about it, have it and enjoy it. Then record it in your mind. You're going to absolutely thank yourself later. So, with all of this, let's circle back to the topic of this podcast. And that's the connection of all of this stuff, not just to our emotional health, but to our physical health and longevity. How can just training more calm actually protect you? Let's go back to when I talked about telomeres, the little protective tips on the ends of your DNA. Well, there's a significant body of research, including work by Nobel Prize winning scientists like Elizabeth Blackburn and Alyssa Epel, showing that chronic stress can accelerate their shortening. While stress management strategies like meditation, deep relaxation, and regular exercise are associated with slower telomere shortening. That translates to better cellular health. Better cellular health translates to a stronger and healthier body. Now, chronic inflammation is another one to look at. Any doctor would tell you that it's strongly linked to everything from heart disease to diabetes to autoimmune conditions. When you're less stressed, your inflammatory markers go down. And this has a ripple effect on your energy levels, your body's resilience to illness, and long term, how you age. So if you need a why that's bigger than, well, it would just feel better to be more calm and relaxed, think about your future self. If you have them, think about your kids and your grandkids. By learning to calm your mind now, you're investing in a future with fewer doctor's visits, a stronger heart, and a brain that stays sharper longer. Healthcare companies are investing a lot of money into this stuff because when we're all healthier, they save a lot of money. When we think about our future selves, they're not just some idea in the distant future, they're actually being shaped by the choices you and I make every day, like even listening to this podcast as an example. I'll put this under the bucket of a healthy choice. But even with all these really meaningful reasons that we can create, our body is still very skilled. Let's just say that, very skilled at creating alternate reasons why we can't take care of ourselves in this way. So I know some of you might be thinking, well, I don't really have time to calm down, or it takes too much effort to calm down. I get it. You have 1,000 tasks, responsibilities, and demands. But guess what? It's precisely because you have so much going on that you must find time or create space. We're not climbing a giant mountain here. We're talking about 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, or even 60 seconds of this deep breathing before you start the car. This is not about adding more to your to-do list. It's not about adding more to your overwhelm. It's about weaving calm into the cracks of your daily life. In fact, it's the opposite of overwhelm. We're doing it all without the overwhelm. Because when you actually do that, you're more likely to remember it in those small moments in the future as well. You might also think that calming down is passive, or maybe it's some kind of soft science, this whole emotional health thing. Probably not if you're listening to this, but maybe. I remember I had to come up against this when I wrote the Mindfulness at Work program that Aetna inevitably exclusively held until it got used by a whole lot of other healthcare companies for the corporate world. The truth is, calming down is anything but passive. Calming your mind is an active reset. You are literally deliberately shifting your body from an unhealthy and oftentimes unfocused mode into a more healing mode. That's not lazy, that's smart. You'll show up more focused, more creative, and more emotionally balanced, not to mention more physically healthy. Or I think a really common unconscious objection sometimes that I hear a lot is, I'll come down when life is easier. I don't have time or space right now. We love to think that next month or next season will magically deliver less stress, but look back or maybe look forward. Life doesn't work that way. I don't see things slowing down on the horizon, do you? New challenges pop up all the time. You have to cultivate calm in the middle of the chaos, not wait until the chaos is over. So here's the bottom line. I want you to take a moment, maybe even now as you listen, to close your eyes, unless of course you're driving a car or walking, and take stock for a moment of how you typically handle stress. Are you stuck in fight or flight all day? Going to bed at night still wired with anxious energy? How is that impacting your relationships, your outlook on life, or your body? Do you frequently catch yourself in a state of overwhelm? Now, take a moment to imagine this. And I mean, when you get a chance, actually see this in your mind for a moment. There's a version of you that moves through the day with more space, that recognizes tension early and shifts into calm. A version of you that sets boundaries and understands that part of being productive is giving your body and mind time to recover. Notice how that impacts your family, your focus and energy at work, how you feel in the day, maybe even as you're envisioning this, how you're feeling right now. Now, let's consider this. That version of you is available starting right now. Now, you don't have to fix everything overnight. Even one small thing, a short meditation, a deliberate pause before you say yes to a request, can give you micro experiences of calm. In fact, you might want to think of it just as micro experiences of calm. Because when you do it like that, you do it without the overwhelm. And once you get a taste of that, you'll want more because you'll notice the ripple effect across your life. So I want to leave you with a challenge that I think will help. It certainly has helped me. Just take one action step. We're going to make it so simple that it's going to be hard for your brain to object. Pick one small practice for managing stress. A few deep breaths like we talked about, the brain dump journaling for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, a body scan or a daily 5-minute pause, and commit to doing it for the next 7 days. Better yet, grab a friend and have them do it with you. Keep each other accountable on text or chat. I do this with my friends too. Choose whichever one feels doable to you. Put it on your calendar or set a phone reminder. When you forget or your day spirals, that reminder will nudge you towards calm. It'll open up a space between the stimulus and response, so you have a awareness of the choice and have more energy that you can bring in that direction. Chronic stress is serious, and I feel like we're feeling it more than ever. It's often unconscious, it's pervasive, and it's literally shaving time off your lifespan. But you have more power than you think to turn the dial down. When you calm your mind, you protect your body at the most fundamental levels: cells, hormones, heart health, immune response, you name it. And that, my friends, is how you increase not just your lifespan, but your health span. because living longer only matters if you have the health and energy to enjoy those extra years, right? Most of all, thank you for spending this time with me. And I also want you to thank yourself for taking the time for your own learning, health, and well-being here. Don't just take what you've heard and move on, put it into practice. Treat these ideas as an investment in your future self so you can show up for your family, your dreams, and everything that lights you up with a sense of vitality for a long, long time. As people in my coaching programs know, I'm here cheering you on. I can't wait to hear your feedback, your wins, your insights. Please share this episode with someone you know who needs to hear it. The reality is, almost everyone you know is stressed out about something. So be that ripple of calm for them too. This is Dr. Elisha Goldstein, and let's take our peace of mind and health seriously. No one deserves it more than you. Hey, thanks for joining me on this episode of the Emotional Longevity Podcast. I hope you found it as inspiring and thought-provoking as I did. If you enjoyed this conversation, don't forget to hit like down below, subscribe to this channel, and share it with someone you know who could benefit from these insights. Your support helps us grow this incredible community and reach more people who need it. If today's conversation resonated with you and you're ready to go deeper, if you're ready to truly integrate these ideas into your life, I'd love to invite you to join me in a beautiful, supportive community that's doing this transformative work together. It's a space where you'll find guidance, connection, and the tools you need to create lasting emotional health and resilience. Check out the links in the description below to learn more. And before you go, make sure to tune into our next episode. It's one that you won't want to miss. Until next time, take care of yourself, and remember, emotional health isn't about just feeling good. It's about building the foundation for a longer, healthier, and more joyful life. I'll see you soon.